Today we are going to discuss about heme structure and heme synthesis. We know so many hemoproteins are there. For example, one of the most important, that is the hemoglobin. And this hemoproteins, we know they having heme in their prosthetic group. So such proteins are having the heme in their prosthetic group. They are known as hemoproteins. And one of the most important one is the hemoglobin. And we can see so many other hemoproteins also. For example, myoglobin, cytochrome, again tryptophan pyrrolase, one enzyme, catalase, another one. So all these are hemoproteins. Today we are going to discuss about the heme, that is related to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, we know that is a conjugated protein and it is having hemoglobin, we can write as HB. It's having heme in its prosthetic group and globin as the protein part, or it is a polypeptide. So we can see heme in their prosthetic group and globin, that is the polypeptide part and the protein part, and that is about the hemoglobin. And we also know that this hemoglobin, that is a tetramer. Tetramer means it's having 4 subunits, and that each subunit is having one globin and one heme. So this hemoglobin, even it is a tetramer, and each subunit that is having one heme and also one globin polypeptide chain. So coming to this heme, is heme, you know, this heme, it is a cyclic compound, that is a porphyrin ring, that is this heme having 4 pyrrole rings, and these pyrrole rings are again linked by the methynyl bridges, the same alpha, beta, gamma, delta, all these are the methynyl bridges, and this is the pyrrole, this 1, 2, 3, 4, that's are the pyrrole rings. And see pyrrole ring alone I have drawn this pyrrole ring. So 4 such pyrrole rings joined by this methynyl bridges constitute the heme structure. And coming to hemoglobin, along with this we can see one ion also, Fe. So we can see one linked to ion also. So that constitute the heme in our hemoglobin. Now see this 1, 2, 3, 4, all these rings are the pyrrole rings, and these pyrrole rings are joined by alpha, beta, gamma, delta, all these are the methynyl bridges. And again we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 such that these are the groups where it can bind to some other substitutes, or this can bind to some other substituent groups. And coming to this, again we know in hemoglobin we can see the iron, and that iron is in the ferrous form. Here iron is in the ferrous form. Ferrous form is Fe2 plus form. 2 plus form. The other one is the ferric, and we cannot see ferric here. Ferric means hemetic. And here in iron or in hemoglobin, this heme having the iron, or it is in the Fe2 plus form, that is ferrous form, and that we know it's hexavalent. Hexavalent means it is having 6 valencies. 6 valency, and 4 of these valencies are, we know these are satisfied by our nitrogen groups in the pyrrole rings. One, it is linked to the globin protein part, amino acid NH2 group in the protein part, one valency is satisfied by the protein. Again the other one, remaining one, that will link to the oxygen. So that this can carry oxygen easily. Now we can move to the biosynthesis of heme. That heme is synthesized in almost all tissues, that is synthesized in normoblasts but not in matured ones. And its synthesis site, it is almost all tissues, and it's partly mitochondrial and partly cytoplasmic. So intracellular side, when we say, that is partly cytoplasmic and partly mitochondrial. So some of the steps taking place in mitochondria, the other is shown in the cytoplasm. So that's about the site. Then coming to steps. The step 1 that occurs in the mitochondria, and here what happens is glycine combines with succinyl-CoA producing delta amino levulinic acid, or simply ALA, delta amino levulinic acid. So see here, glycine structure is given here, succinyl-CoA is also given, and here the enzyme required here is ALA synthase, or delta amino levulinic acid synthase. So and it requires magnesium and PLP as the coenzyme. PLP is the coenzyme, magnesium as the cofactor. and it releases this carbon dioxide and also coenzyme A, as in the form of coenzyme ACH. So that's what happens in this, that is glycine combines with succinyl-CoA producing ALA, that is delta-aminolevulinic acid. Actually there is one more step as an intermediate, that is it will succinyl-CoA and glycine firstly produce alpha-amino beta ketoadipic acid. So you can just skip that, it's a bit difficult to remember, so just skip that. You can write like this, that is glycine plus succinyl-CoA producing delta-aminolevulinic acid, and here the enzyme is ALA synthase, and that requires magnesium and pyridoxal phosphate. Okay, now that occurs in the mitochondria, step 1 that taking place inside the mitochondria. Now we can move to the second step, that is the next few succeeding steps that occurs in the cytoplasm. And the second step we can see two molecules of ALA join together to form porphobilinogen, PBG. Porphobilinogen, that is the first precursor pyrrole formed. So that is the precursor. So two molecules of ALA, it is joined and is catalyzed by the enzyme ALA dehydratase. So dehydratase means there will be removal of water that occurs here, producing porphobilinogen. Now moving to the third step, 4 such porphobilinogen join together to form hydroxymethyl bilane. So 4 porphobilinogen molecules joined to form hydroxymethyl bilane. And here the step is catalyzed by uroporphyrinogen 1 synthase. And there we can see the removal of 4 molecules of ammonia. And when coming to this hydroxymethyl bilane, actually it is the linear tetrapyrrole. We know that the heme that is having the cyclic pyrrole ring that is joined by methynyl bridges that you already seen. But now the starting stage of course, that is linear tetrapyrrole. So linear tetrapyrrole ring variant are joined by methylene bridges here. Not by methynyl. Methynyl bridges are last, it will occur in the last step. Here it comes the methylene bridge. So that's about the third step, that is formation of hydroxymethyl bilane. Now we can move to the step 4. Step 4, actually this hydroxymethyl bilane that can be converted to 2 forms. That it can be converted to uroporphyrinogen 3 or uroporphyrinogen 1. The important thing is that this uroporphyrinogen 3 is important in the biological system, or it is formed predominantly. 3 porphyrinogen 3, let us say UPG, we can say it as UPG 3. So uroporphyrinogen 3 that is predominantly formed actually, and that is further used. So in your steps UPG remaining steps UPG 1 it is then converted to uroporphyrin. It is converted to uroporphyrin 1 and is excreted through urine. It is excreted out through urine. So that's what happens to this porphyrinogen 1. So this hydroxymethyl bilane, it is catalyzed by the enzyme uroporphyrinogen 3 synthase, producing uroporphyrinogen 3. And this uroporphyrinogen 3 we can see so many, see this is one representation of that porphyrin ring. Here we can see these 1, 2, 3, 4, but the bridges are not given here. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4 pyrrole rings can be seen, and these are the substituent groups, A for acetyl and P for the propynyl group. So we can see 2 types of substituent groups here, acetyl group and the propynyl group. So and again when you look at these 2 structures, you can see here also you can see acetyl group and the propynyl group. But the here we can see a symmetry in this group, the substituent groups, that is AP, 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 there is a symmetry. But coming to this uroporphyrinogen 3, this is asymmetrically arranged. The substituent groups are asymmetrically arranged. We see AP, 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 PA. Here comes the PA. It's not symmetrically, it is asymmetrically arranged. And that's why the uroporphyrinogen 3 and here comes the uroporphyrinogen 1. So this one heme synthesis we use uroporphyrinogen 3. Hydroxymethyl bilane can be catabolized, can be converted to uroporphyrinogen 1 spontaneously. Uroporphyrinogen 1 night convert uroporphyrinogen 1 to uroporphyrin 1 and it is excreted through urine. That's of no use. Coming to this uroporphyrin 3, that is catalyzed by uroporphyrin 3 synthase. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു ഹൈഡ്രോക്സിമീഥൈൽ ബൈലൈൻ ഒന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്പോണ്ടേനിയസ് ആയിട്ട് uroporphyrin 1 ആവാം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ uroporphyrin 3 ആവാം. 3 ആവുമ്പോൾ there comes the enzyme uroporphyrin 3 synthase or uroporphyrin 3 co-synthase, we can say co-synthase, producing uroporphyrin 3, and here the substituent groups are asymmetrically arranged. That means instead of AP here we can see PA, that is A for acetyl, P for the propionyl group. And coming to this uroporphyrin 3, it is also known as 9th series, uroporphyrin 9. Why? Because this Emil Fischer, he placed this uroporphyrin 3 in the 9th series of the possible isomers. So 9th place la the position place cheyda karanam kondu idine nammal 9 uroporphyrin 9 ennum parayam. So that's about the uroporphyrin 3 and uroporphyrin 1. So now moving to the fifth step, that is fifth step, uroporphyrin 3 or UPG3, it is converted to coproporphyrin 3, CPG3. So UPG is converted to CPG, that is uroporphyrin 3 is converted to coproporphyrin 3, and there comes the enzyme UPG decarboxylase. So decarboxylation occurs, that is removal of carbon dioxide, 4 molecules of carbon dioxide is removed here. So actually what happens here means, this instead of this A we can see methyl group here. So this acetyl group we can be see in the uroporphyrin 3. Coming to this coproporphyrin 3, instead of this acetyl group we can see the methyl group. And again there comes the methyl group propionyl, MP, MP, PM. Same. So that's what happens the CPG3. For uroporphyrin we can see the acetyl group, and coproporphyrin instead of acetyl group we can see methyl group. So acetyl group la CO and carbon dioxide release cheyidu poyindava, COH is there, no? So that COH is released as carbon dioxide. 4 molecules of carbon dioxide is released, and this acetyl group is converted to methyl group. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു കോഡ് ഓർത്ത് വെക്കുക, UCP എന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് ഓർക്കുക, കാരണം നെക്സ്റ്റ് കോമ്പൗണ്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പ്രോട്ടോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ ആണ്. സോ അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ വരരുത്. ഫസ്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ ഇനീഷ്യലി ഒരു പോർഫോബിലിനോജൻ പഠിച്ചു, പക്ഷേ നൗ വി ആർ കമ്മിങ് ടു ദിസ്, അതായത് കോപ്രോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ ഈസ് ദെൻ കൺവേർട്ടഡ് ടു പ്രോട്ടോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ. സോ UCP, യൂറോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ, കോപ്രോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ, പ്രോട്ടോ. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഓർഡർ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തെറ്റില്ല, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് കോപ്ര ആദ്യം വരും, യൂറോനും വരും. സോ അത് തെറ്റായിരിക്കും. ജസ്റ്റ് റിമെമ്പർ ദിസ് UCP, ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് യൂറോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ, കോപ്രോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ, പ്രോട്ടോപോർഫൈറിനോജൻ. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ നിമോണിക്സ് വെച്ച് പഠിച്ചാലായിരിക്കും ദിസ് ബയോകെമിസ്ട്രി വിൽ ബി ഈസി ഫോർ യു. ബയോകെമിസ്ട്രി എപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് കുറേ ടേംസ് അല്ലേ, കുറേ റിയാക്ഷൻസ് വി ഹാവ് ടു റിമെമ്പർ. സോ വെൻ യു സ്റ്റഡി ദാറ്റ് റിലേറ്റഡ് ടു സം നിമോണിക്സ് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ബി ഈസി ഫോർ യു. So try that. And so here you can just remember this too, that is UCP, uroporphyrin, coproporphyrin, and the next coming is the protoporphyrin. Step 6 that occurs in mitochondria. So നമ്മൾ ഒരു 5 വരെ, അതായത് 5th സ്റ്റെപ്പ് വരെ സൈറ്റോപ്ലാസം നടക്കുന്നു. ഫസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റെപ്പ് മൈറ്റോകോൺഡ്രിയയിൽ നടക്കുന്നു അല്ലേ, സെക്കൻഡ് തുടങ്ങി 5th വരെ സൈറ്റോപ്ലാസം നടക്കും. Coming to the 6th step that occurs in the mitochondria, and there comes the enzyme oxidase. So CPG oxidase that is present in the mitochondria and catalyze this reaction. So what happens in this step, that is CPG, coproporphyrin 3, that is converted to protoporphyrin 3. That I already told you, UCP, uroporphyrin 2, coproporphyrin, coproporphyrin 2, protoporphyrin. So we can write protoporphyrin 3 or 9. I already told you that. So this coproporphyrin we can see the methyl group. Whereas coming to this protoporphyrin, instead of two propionyl groups, you can see vinyl group. So that is the specialty here. So here we methyl group and propionyl group we can see. And coming to this protoporphyrin 3, we can see instead of these two propionyl groups, you can see two vinyl groups, VINYL, vinyl groups. So that's the difference here. And here it is a CPG oxidase. So oxidation is taking place, that is oxygen is added to this and again carbon dioxide is released, and this enzyme catalyzing is CPG oxidase. So that's what occurs in the step of coproporphyrin, protoporphyrin 3, and again 9 we can write protoporphyrin 9 at converting. Now coming to the 7th step, that is also occurring in the mitochondria. Then what happens is that PPG, protoporphyrin 3 or 9, that is converted to protoporphyrin 3, and it is catalyzed by the PPG oxidase. And here what occurs means, actually this PPG3 where methylene bridges ആയിരിക്കും. Methylene bridges നമ്മൾ കണ്ടു അല്ലേ, ആ പൈറോൾ റിങ്ങിനെ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള methylene bridges ആയിരിക്കും, that is CH2 ആയിരിക്കും. Whereas coming to this protoporphyrin 3, അപ്പോൾ എന്തായി ബ്രിഡ്ജിന്റെ ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചർ മാറി മെഥിനൈൽ ബ്രിഡ്ജസ് ആയി. സോ ഇൻസ്റ്റെഡ് ഓഫ് മെഥിലിൻ വി ക്യാൻ സീ മെഥിനൈൽ ബ്രിഡ്ജസ്, അതായത് CH ഡബിൾ ബോണ്ട് ആഡ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കണം. So that occurs in the structure. So protoporphyrin 3 is converted to protoporphyrin 3. And coming to the final last step, that is protoporphyrin 9 or protoporphyrin 3, it is converted to heme. So there comes the enzyme heme synthase or ferrochelatase. നമുക്ക് ferrochelatase എന്ന് പറയാം, heme synthase എന്ന് പറയാം. കാരണം ഇവിടെ last step that occurs the addition of the iron. So നമ്മൾ കണ്ടു iron Fe2+ is added to this protoporphyrin. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ എത്തിയപ്പോഴേക്കും കംപ്ലീറ്റ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ ആയി, മെഥിനൈൽ ബ്രിഡ്ജസ് ഒക്കെ വന്നു. ഇനിയുള്ള ഒരു ലാക്കിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സംഭവം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അയൺ ആണ്. സോ ഇൻ ദ ഫൈനൽ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ഓർ ദ ലാസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റെപ്പ് 8 we can see the addition of this iron to this porphyrin, this one protoporphyrin 9 or protoporphyrin 3. So what happens? Heme results. So and here we have to note that is if it is in the Fe2+ form. ഇവിടെ Fe2+ ഫോമിലായിരിക്കും അയൺ ആഡ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കുക. that is the ferrous form. it is having 6 valency. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ അത് ഈസി ആയിട്ട് ഓക്സിജനെ ക്യാരി ചെയ്യും. And then hemetin എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു കോമ്പൗണ്ട്, that is if Fe2+ പകരം Fe3+ ആണ് വന്നതെങ്കിൽ, that is ഫെറിക് ഫോമിലാണെങ്കിൽ എന്തുണ്ടാവും, ഈ ഹീമിന് ആ ഓക്സിജൻ ക്യാരിങ് കപ്പാസിറ്റി ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. Fe3+ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ 5ലേക്ക് പോയി വാലൻസി അല്ലേ. സോ ദാറ്റ് കനോട്ട് ക്യാരി ദി ഓക്സിജൻ. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് നോൺ ആസ് ഹെമറ്റിൻ. ഹെമറ്റിൻ കനോട്ട് ക്യാരി ദി ഓക്സിജൻ and that is dark brown in color. Heme it is red color. So coming to this regulation, ALA synthase, that is the key regulatory enzyme and that occurs in the mitochondria. And here this regulation is by repression mechanism that I will explain you later. And coming to this heme that acts as the co-repressor and this will inhibit this ALA synthase. Heme co-repressor ആയിട്ട് ആക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യം ഞാൻ പറയാം, ഈ ഒരു ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ നെക്സ്റ്റ് സ്ലൈഡിൽ പറയാം. And coming to this hemetin is also allosterically inhibit the ALA synthase. അപ്പോൾ heme and hemetin that will inhibit the ALA synthase. Hemetin by allosteric inhibition and heme by the co-repression mechanism. And coming to this compartmentalization of the enzyme, other factor, അപ്പോൾ മെയിൻലി this ALA synthase ആണ് key regulatory enzyme. ഇനി അത് മാത്രമല്ല, ഈ key regulatory enzyme ഇൻഹിബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടു. Now coming to this compartmentalization of enzyme. എൻസൈമിലെ കുറച്ച് എൻസൈംസ് സൈറ്റോപ്ലാസത്തിൽ, കുറച്ച് മൈറ്റോകോൺഡ്രിയ. Some of the enzymes are in mitochondria, some others in the cytoplasm. So this compartmentalization of this enzyme helps the regulation very much. അപ്പോൾ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് റെഗുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇനി കമ്മിങ് ടു ദിസ് ബാർബിട്രേസ്, സർട്ടൻ ഡ്രഗ്സ്. അപ്പോൾ ബാർബിട്രേസ് ഒക്കെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് റിക്വയർസ് ദി സൈറ്റോക്രോം P450 ഫോർ ഇറ്റ്സ് ഫംഗ്ഷൻ. സോ ഈ സൈറ്റോക്രോം, അതായത് ഹീം പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഹീം മോസ്റ്റ്ലി ഒരു 2/3 ഹീമും സൈറ്റോക്രോം P450 സിന്തസിസിന് വേണ്ടി പോകും. അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ഈ ഒരു ബാർബിട്രേസിന്റെ ഒരു ഇഫക്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഇനി കമ്മിങ് ടു ലെഡ് ആക്ച്വലി ഫെറോകീലറ്റേസിനെയും ഒക്കെ ഇൻഹിബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സംഭവമാണ് ലെഡ്. പിന്നെ ഐസോനിക്കോട്ടിനിക് ആസിഡ് ഹൈഡ്രസൈഡ്, INH, ഐസോനിക്കോട്ടിനിക് ആസിഡ് ഹൈഡ്രസൈഡ്, and that will actually decrease the availability of PLP നമ്മൾ കണ്ടു, pyridoxal phosphate that requires for the ALA synthase for its function. അപ്പോൾ ഈ PLPയുടെ അവൈലബിലിറ്റി കുറയ്ക്കും ഈ ഐസോനിക്കോട്ടിനിക് ആസിഡ് ഹൈഡ്രസൈഡ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ റെഗുലേഷനിൽ മെയിനായിട്ടും വരുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ. ഇനി നമുക്ക് ഇതിൻ്റെ ALA synthase അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹീം എങ്ങനെ co-repressor-ആയിട്ട് ആക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട്, അതാണ് ഒരു മെയിൻ റെഗുലേഷൻ ഇതിൽ നമ്മൾ പറയാം. co-repressor-ആയിട്ട് ആക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ALA synthase-നെ ഇൻഹിബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് നമുക്ക് നോക്കാം. Now we can move to this regulation of ALA synthase. That is ALA synthase that occurs in two forms, erythroid form and hepatic form. And the rate limiting enzyme is in the hepatocyte. So that hepatic form is the rate limiting enzyme. And here how it occurs means, see, DNA by transcription we produce mRNA by translation produce the inactive repressor. So there is one protein that is inactive repressor is there. If heme that binds to this inactive repressor, it will become active repressor. So if there is sufficient heme is there, means that heme will go and bind to the inactive repressor and it will form active repressor. And from the name itself repressor, that means it will reduce the synthesis, that is repression, that is the mechanism here. So active repressor, that is if heme binds to this inactive repressor, it becomes active repressor. And this active repressor, what it will do is it will go and inhibit the production of this ALA synthase. So ALA synthase is inhibited, that is production of ALA synthase is inhibited. Now coming, if there is no heme, means there is no heme, then what happens? This inactive repressor will remain as such, it will remain as inactive repressor itself. So there will be no problem. This DNA converted to mRNA is converted to the protein ALA synthase. So sufficient ALA synthase is formed or synthesized. So that's why that if heme is there, that will act as the co-repressor and will inhibit the formation of ALA synthase. And if there is no heme means this inactive repressor that will remain as inactive repressor, and there will be formation of ADA synthase. So I am winding up this. We can see the next class. Next class we will discuss about the heme catabolism. Thank you.